Hi there, Jasmine.
Shh.
Let me know when you're ready.
I guess I can stop.
Okay. Sorry to tear you away from whatever it is you're reading. But thank you for joining me today. What are you reading there?
Hebi ni Piasu.
Oh, I'm reading Snakes and Earrings. Wait a minute, that's the same book! What?
I like your cover.
It's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good
Got the
art.
tattoo on there.
Yeah.
Is that a Kirin?
Looks like it? Yes.
Yeah. Who's the writer of this book?
Hitomi Kanehara.
Right. So in Japanese, Hebi ni Pierce. In English, Snakes and Earrings. That's a slightly different title.
Sorry.
Wouldn't you say in Japanese it might be earrings for a snake?
Yeah, earrings for snake. Yes.
Yeah. Which is, I actually think that's actually a better title than
Yeah.
Snakes and Earrings.
Yeah.
Although Snakes and Earrings does have a cool ring to it. All right. Well, I just want to thank you for joining me for the Talking Sudoku Blues.
Yes.
I usually do this by myself.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have somebody to talk to.
Well, it happens to be, this one of my favorites. So, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into it. Well, I don't usually do an author bio, but Kanehara-san is a very interesting person. And this book won a big literary prize.
Yes, this is her debut.
Right. It won the Akutagawa Prize in 2004, which is a huge prize in Japan. Ryu Murakami, writer of Almost Transparent Blue and other tales, was one of the judges. And he very enthusiastically...
Well, this is his kind of
Yeah, it is his kind of book. It is his kind of book. Yeah, she was only 21 when she wrote this.
21, okay.
I'm sorry, she was 21 when she won the prize for this. So she was like, she was probably
Yeah,
19,
yeah.
20 when she was writing this. So anyway, yeah, she's a really interesting person. She quit going to school when she was very young, and her father kind of helped her. She joined her father's creative writing classes. This story is about 19-year-old Louis. Louis is kind of what would you say, a frita?
Yeah, I guess so, sure, yeah.
She's sort of picking up like freelance jobs. She's often like working in the kind of the night industry and like the hostess bars where she accompanies like middle-aged men, and she gets paid quite a lot of money for one night's work. She's not a prostitute, but she's sort of like you'd say an escort or something like that
Sure,
for these
yeah.
men. Living in Tokyo, and she sees this guy. She's interested in him, and she notices that he has a forked tongue. And that's Ama. And Rui and Ama kind of hook up, and they begin their downward spiral.
Yeah.
Because of Ama, so she decides she wants to get a
Split
split
tongue, yeah.
tongue. So she gets her tongue pierced, and then she works her way toward getting it actually forked. It begins, know what a forked tongue is? One that's split in two? Yeah, like the tongue of a snake or lizard. He takes the cigarette out of his mouth, he sticks out his tongue, and she sees that it's a split tongue. And then at the bottom of the page, he says, why don't you give it a try too? And I found myself nodding unconsciously. There are so many moments in this book where she just goes along without knowing what she's doing or why she's doing it.
Yeah.
She decides to get a forked tongue because of this random guy that she met in this dance club. Because she thinks his forked tongue is kind of fascinating. She wants to get a full back tattoo because she meets another guy who's a tattoo artist.
Yeah.
And he has tattoos, and she
Yeah.
thinks it's cool.
Yeah.
She doesn't even know what kind of tattoo she wants until they suggest it to her.
Yeah.
Everyone keeps commenting on the fact that she's a Barbie girl.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a Barbie girl. She's like, I'm not a Barbie girl. And Barbie girl is the English translation of gyaru.
Yeah. It's a mistranslation.
Yeah.
But I also don't know how to translate this term too.
Barbie girl?
Yes, because Barbie girl sounds like a pretty girl. Gyaru is not like
Yeah.
that's not their value. Like
Right. Barbie girl kind of, it sounds like a valley girl. It's like,
they're lower than that.
it's a subculture in Japan where women have very bright blonde hair and long nails and excessive makeup and they
Yeah.
wear kind of camisole dresses and kind of
Yeah.
they look kind of terrifying. They have very, very white skin and
Yeah,
they-
in my generation, there's like the tongue gal, like so, like they're like much darker.
oh, tan gal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's actually my impression.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're always like smoking and like
yeah.
they're in like roppongi like at night.
Yeah,
like-
they're associated with that kind of like
Night
nightlife a
world,
little
yeah,
bit. Like
yeah.
they would date that kind of guys and
With the split
so
tongue.
yeah, Barbie is a little different.
yeah.
I feel like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, if you don't know the Japanese culture, you wouldn't know what gyaru is.
Well, you'd probably think it's like a Harajuku girl or something, which is not at all. Like that's not the same thing. Yeah, it's not like a high fashion thing. It's really like kind of its own subculture.
Yes.
Anyway, so Rui begins as this kind of gyaru. When Ama and Rui and Maki-san,
yeah.
her best friend,
Yes.
they meet up, they go drinking.
Yeah.
This is kind of the climax of the story. Something very bad's going to happen. And Maki's like, we made an oath to stay Barbie girls forever. And then Rui says, did not. And my first impression was, that's so childish, you know. Remember when we did that and it did not, you know.
Yeah.
And then, but that keeps coming back. Like the Shiba-san in the tattoo parlor. He's like, I didn't know Barbie girls got their tongues pierced. So obviously she's got the long nails, she's got the blonde hair, and then she's moving away from that. Now she wants to have a pierced tongue. And,
Yeah. I mean, that also indicates that like she does not want to belong to one thing.
Right.
You know.
Right.
She always kind of wants to be something special.
Yeah.
Doesn't like completely stay in one group.
Right. She wants to be something special, but she doesn't really know what that is. She just
Yeah,
wants
yeah.
something special.
Yeah, and also she's like absolutely like lonely.
Yeah.
You know, all the time.
Right. She's always
Because
lonely.
of that reason.
Right. And although the fascination didn't translate directly into a desire to possess a forked tongue myself, I had embarked on the tongue-splitting journey anyway, in the hope of finding out what it was that gave me such a rush. And she's always seeking like external stimulation.
Yeah.
And when things start to go wrong and things start to turn dark, she turns to alcohol. And she gets like horribly drunk. She starts to become an alcoholic.
Yeah, but also that's like a really typical thing. Like, you know, when you don't know like who you are and where you belong, then you need to like harm yourself. You know, it's like a self-harm
Right.
act.
Yeah.
When you feel the pain, you feel like you're alive and
Right.
you're living in the
Right.
moment.
After she sleeps with Shiba-san, he's a sadist and she's a masochist. And after the very violent sex, she says, I felt a strange combination of relief and excitement, like I've been released from hell but exiled from heaven at the same time. The writing is so simple, but she's got these really great
I
little
know,
lines
I
in
know.
there that kind of elevate this.
I resonate with this so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
That feeling of neither.
Yeah. She's in limbo.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it
Hopeless.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of biblical imagery. There's Shiba-san calls himself a child of God. Rui's boyfriend is Ama, and then she says, "Well, what's your name anyway?" After they've been living together for months,
Yes.
and he goes, "Oh, it's Amadeus."
Yeah.
And Amadeus actually means loved by God.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Right. And yeah, and that actually, without spoiling anything, that actually comes into play. If you think about it, the character relationships, that's actually a huge.
Do you find that out? Do you find out like what Shiba-san means? I'm just
Tell me what it means.
But when I was like reading other people's speculations on
Yeah,
this, like
yeah.
you said, it's a god, the Shiva
Shiva.
god,
Right.
destruction,
Hindu mythology.
god of
yeah.
destruction and creation.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. When I think of like snakes in
Yeah.
literature, it's usually based around Satan,
Yeah.
evil, trickster, serpents, and things like that. But yeah, I wanted to ask you about what does the snake represent in Japanese culture?
Yeah, I think it generally means transformation, and also
Because they shed the skin.
yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, good money fortune.
Oh,
Yeah, some people actually put the skin
yeah,
into their wallet.
snake skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it brings money.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you must see people with snake skin wallets then. No.
That I don't know.
No. Because in
But
America,
that's killing you.
well, that's true. In America, you see the snakeskin cowboy boots.
Oh, really?
Yes. I'm not endorsing the murdering of snakes. I think all snakes should be free to
Yeah.
do.
So yeah,
to
it's a
live.
transformation because they're always shedding.
Yeah,
And
it's interesting.
also the creation. Yeah. So like yeah, she's like trying to transform. She's just like hoping for anything but this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes,
All
she's
the
hoping for
time.
anything but this.
So,
Yeah. I like the fact that we don't get to know anything about Rui's past, and yet it's slipped in there in little moments.
Yeah.
On page 43, she's leaving Shiba-san after sleeping with him. Well, sleeping, I don't know, you can't call that sleeping, but
Yeah.
anyway, after having a wild time with Shiba-san, she takes the train back to Ama's place. And she says, the shopping promenade on the way home from the station was full of too many families. In fact, the sound of all those voices made me want to vomit. A small child bumped into me and the mother pretended not to notice, blah, blah, blah. I really didn't want to live in this kind of universe. I wanted to live recklessly and leave nothing behind but ashes in this dark, dull world. We never get to meet her family, her parents. She does mention once that she has parents, I think she says, one time.
but she doesn't talk to.
But that little paragraph, less than a paragraph, is so well done. And there's so many little moments like this throughout the book where it's like these like little poetic lines that say so much about the characters.
Yeah.
Well,
definitely she's like so talented.
Kanehara-san.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a writer
Yeah.
from the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, talking about other books that she wrote.
Yeah, please tell me, because I haven't read anything else.
After this, yeah, like she becomes even better and better, like as a novelist.
Yeah.
Like she's amazing. Yeah, like I keep like getting this kind of feeling, like it's almost too painful to read sometimes because I can feel it too well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when she wrote this, she was only a teen,
Yeah.
but then she grows up and then she gets married, she has children now, and then so like she writes about this motherhood and like
Yeah.
working and being a mother at the same time, and this like everything that all these expansion that she experiences in her life, she puts that onto her books, and
Yeah.
I can just relate to this little
The journey.
feelings and just
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And as a writer, she she was already amazing here, but then she grows as a writer too,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's beautiful, and I hope that they would translate a lot of her books.
There are so many little like metaphorical moments when they're in the tattoo parlor and she's talking about getting her tongue pierced. There's a moment when she and Ama are standing there and Shiba-san steps between them. And that foreshadows, she's going to cheat on Ama with Shiba-san. And I mean, you wouldn't even say that's really like anything because it's done so effortlessly.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is this book is actually built really, really carefully. And it also reaches for larger themes of like what it is to be young in Tokyo, at this time in the early 2000s or the late 90s. I think there are actually a lot of people who can relate to this.
Yeah.
This kind of unseen world behind the scenes in a way.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. There's even a part where Rui and her friend, when they're they're making money as the escorts, and they're with these drunken salarymen, and they sneak away from the party and they sit in the kitchen and steal the beer, and they're like drinking beer and just chatting. And I thought that is actually a great metaphor for where she's at too, because she's really in the background. She's really like,
that's true.
She doesn't really want to exist.
She's always removed.
Yeah, she's always removed.
Yeah.
On page 41, Shiba-san says, if you and Ama break up, I want you to be my girl. But that would be with marriage in mind. And she's kind of shocked. Like, what's this, like, this, S&M dude? Like,
That was kind of surprising.
He's probably going to murder me or something, right? And then right after that, he hands her a can of coffee. I love this scene. He opens the fridge and he hands her a can of coffee while he's talking about this. And he opens it for her before he hands it to her. So she gets surprised and she says, underneath it all, you're a nice guy, aren't you? And he says, I only opened it because your nails are so damn long. I pecked him on the cheek and said, thank you, words of gratitude that seemed totally at odds with where we sat. I imagined my thank you floating around forever, with nowhere to go. Then Shiba-san went back to the store and reopened it for business.
Yeah.
But, there's so many times in life where you say something either to a person or to a group or like, whatever, and then you kind of almost wish you hadn't said it or like...
It just doesn't fit.
It's not like you regret, but it's like your words kind of hang there.
Yes.
And you kind of just feel like, oh, like, and it's like silent or like, nobody says anything and it's kind of like awkward. And
I mean, it's the ability and the power of writer, like she says this kind of thing and like, oh yeah, that,
Yeah.
I can totally relate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a sequence, maybe two sequences where Amma, whenever after they've finished making love, Amma will kind of suck on her breasts and like a child, and she feels this kind of maternal instinct. But she also kind of hates him for being so pathetic, and she compares him to iyashikei.
Oh.
She says he's a... Hang on, let me find it.
It's not translated?
No, it's not translated, and I was like, because I know some Japanese.
That's weird. Why did they not translate
this one? Amma had the shell of a punk, but from somewhere inside, he exuded the air of an iyashikei TV personality. Someone with the talent to put others at ease.
Yeah, exactly.
But what would you... Like, what's an example of iyashikei?
Iyashi is healing.
Healing.
Iyasu is to heal. Kei is like type. So, like healing type of a personality. I don't know, like kind of...
Bubbly
soft
and like...
vibe.
Okay.
That can kind of accept who you are.
Okay.
Like
an accepting person.
You're
like
very accepting, very kind of motherly and kind of healing. It's okay, not judging you or criticizing you. It's just like, it's okay. It's like, and then like the person, like amongst your friends, like there's the person who is just always, like if she's there, like everyone kind of feels like,
at ease and like, okay.
Relaxed,
I see.
Kind of like Rilakkuma. like as a character. We have that iyashikei characters.
I see.
Anything that's kind of like fluffy and round and, kind of thing.
Kind of peaceful and like making you feel healed inside when you see them. So, okay, so this makes sense to me because when Rui and Maki are waiting for Amma to come to go drinking, he comes up and Maki's like, oh my God, like you can't be serious. That's your boyfriend? And then he immediately says like, sorry, I look so scary, like in kind of a shy way, and that makes her laugh, and then everything's fine. Like Maki accepts him because he's like this, kind of, he looks like a punk. He's got like face piercings, but then he's kind of goofy.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing would be the iyashikei.
Yeah.
Like that kind of like putting everybody at ease. I actually would recommend this book to anyone who likes dark, kind of taboo, subcultures, and if you want like a story that you just really can't predict where it's going. And if you're not turned off by S&M and that kind of a kind of severe subculture world, and it's really entertaining. I mean, it's like
it's a short story.
Yeah, it's yes. I should say that 118 pages, and the text is big. I mean, it's almost transparent blue is like it's also a small book, 125 pages, but the text is tiny. It's like so tiny. Like I wish this book had been like doubly as thick and had bigger text because I'm getting old.
Yeah, I know.
But would you recommend this book?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
I would. I could barely like finish that almost transparent blue because it's kind of gross.
Yeah,
it makes me kind of feel pukey.
Yeah,
at some points, but it's not as bad. The snakes and earrings.
Yeah, it's a different kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's much of a barrier. I mean, there's not even hardly any Japanese terms. Their names are really short. You don't have to remember any complicated names. It's Rui and Amma and Shiba and Maki. I mean, these are easy names. Easy for foreigners. Yeah, I mean, it could be worse. It could be worse. Yeah, but I would recommend this definitely if you want to read something totally different.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for talking with me.
Yes, it was fun.
Yeah, come back again.
Okay, I shall.
Okay, and let me know. Oh, we could have just ended it there. Let us know what you think if you've ever read this book. If you like Japanese literature, if you're into counterculture literature, give us a comment. What's going on? Chaos. It's chaos. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
Last word.
Yeah. We'd like to know. Bye.
Bye. I think that's fine.